Sometimes you're lucky and sometimes you're not over the question of goals at the weekend. But my goodness, we've certainly struck it rich today with the two games that we're bringing you. They've produced for us 10 goals. So it's Crystal Palace against Arsenal as our main match.
Chance here for Crystal Palace. Oh, good save! Good save by Barnett.
Then the best action from Derby against Liverpool.
Lawrence, he's out. It's O'Hare. Now a chance for Carlin. Durbin, Carlin, O'Hare.
Well, it's been a forwards weekend, and no mistake about that. And the Arsenal forward George Armstrong is our studio guest today. We also take a look at your letters, which brings you also that Arsenal penalty save in Portugal in midweek. But it's Arsenal's latest performance that we begin with as we go down to Selhurst Park yesterday. Crystal Palace against Arsenal, and both go into the game with a lot of disappointing results behind them. But Palace knew it would be hard in the toughest league in the world. And for this Derby game, they're without two experienced defenders, Sewell and Hoy. So this defence will be kept busy. And a lot of responsibility will again be thrust on a youngster improving with every game, Steve Kemba, sharp and inventive player in midfield. Arsenal, meanwhile, field the team that came away from Lisbon in midweek with a fine Fairs Cup performance against Sporting Club of Lisbon. And the hero that night in Portugal, unquestionably, was reserve goalkeeper Jeff Barnett, who saved that penalty late in the game. So sunshine at Selhurst Park, a crowd of 35,000, and now it's up to referee Eric Jennings to get the game going.
So Arsenal then, wearing today yellow shirts with blue shorts, kick off, defending that goal to our left. The side that scored only 2 goals in their last 10 games. Crystal Palace in their normal claret shirts with a light blue stripe, and they've not had a win in their last 8 league games. So a win for either side would be enormously valuable this afternoon. Here's Roger Hine, number 6 for Crystal Palace. Looking for his fellow Scot Queen, and Barnett gathering for Arsenal. Peter Simpson. The first league visit by Arsenal to Selhurst Park, the first, in fact, league match between these two clubs. George Armstrong. All of us wondering how much Arsenal will be uplifted by that fine performance in Lisbon against Sporting Club in midweek, that goalless draw in the Fairs Cup. McNabb. And now Armstrong. Likes to take on that full-back, which he's done there very well, putting it across. Robertson not quite getting to it. Or rather, the ball not quite coming through to Robertson. And now it's Tony Taylor. Graham finding Samuels. Challenged by Queen, but holding it and shielding it well, and now getting it back again. Terry Neal, the man who gets married on Tuesday. Neal again. Skipper for today with Frank McClintock suspended. Loughlin to Taylor, this brave little Scot for Crystal Palace. But not a good pass from him. And now Robertson with a chance to show his speed. Loughlin covering him, pulling him down. And of course it must be a free kick to Arsenal. Robertson really away there, and Loughlin in fact did very well to get as far as he did. Samuels is going to curl this free kick. Graham a good header of the ball, Radford also good in the air, waiting in that penalty area. And that's John Jackson's. Per Bartram, the Dane, to Woodruff. And Kemba, good play by Woodruff. Queen calling for it in the middle, and Bartram trying a little flick on. Jeff Barnett, the man they bought from Everton. Throw to Crystal Palace, David Payne. And out of play again. Little over 5 minutes gone, no score. George Graham looking for Radford, and Radford finding Hind at the back, but here's Radford free now. Radford wide. And a year ago this man was in such tremendous form that you felt that he would have picked that one off without any trouble, but obviously with so few goals coming Arsenal's way, there's that nervousness and hesitancy about them in attack, and that was beautifully illustrated there. Simpson, Graham, and now McNabb, and Crystal Palace's ball. Woodruff, the man with the long throw, to take it. Not one of his longest ones, but a good piece of running by Tony Taylor. Payne playing it off again for Taylor. And McNabb beating all comers. Queen. And now David Court. Good strong challenging by Crystal Palace. Robertson versus Loughlin, playing it inside to look for Armstrong. Radford flicking it on neatly there. Handball, I would have thought. And indeed, Mr. Jennings agrees. And it's a free kick to Crystal Palace. And Roger Hind placing the ball for Loughlin. Now Kemba. And McCormick a little slow there, giving Arsenal possession. Robertson, a chance to float one towards that far post. Headed out straight to Samuels. And cleared by Hind. That really was a bit of a let-off too for Crystal Palace. A lot of long balls for forwards to chase, and so far they're not showing very many signs of breaking through. Arsenal more so than Crystal Palace. Now Bobby Woodruff. Payne to Woodruff. Trying to flick it inside Robertson, and no luck there, so it's Samuels. Hind to Loughlin. Lock to Hind again. McCormick. And now George Graham for Arsenal. To John Samuels. Story making a break down the right. Caught. Robertson. And Kemba, for a moment, looking as though he might lose it. And now Bartram, can he set Queen away? Simpson challenging and tugging him from behind. That must be a free kick to Crystal Palace on the edge of that area. Simpson really pulling a Queen's shirt, and a yard further on, and there would have been really fierce arguments about that being a penalty or no penalty, but in fact Arsenal have got away scot-free, except that it's a corner. Kemba to take it. Bartram waiting for it, and Simpson's boot just getting to it before he does. Loughlin to pump it back. Woodruff. Woodruff still. Queen getting in. Back to Loughlin. And now to Taylor. To float one. And Barnett well under pressure. And there is Jerry Queen, the man who had his shirt pulled. And a rip in the shoulder there. David Court to Samuels. Half volley and pushed away. Now can Graham get it back under that bar? He can't. Tremendous half volley. Here's McCormick. I should think relieved rather than angry. A tremendous half volley from Samuels, and good push out by John Jackson. Neil versus Queen. And it might bounce to Queen, who was doing some curious high stepping there. The lines were coming on and shouting at Peter Story for something. But obviously Terry Neal was fouling Queen as they ran for that one. And the lines were having a word with referee Jennings. Referee Jennings then having a word with Peter Story. Number 2, showing him his number. Play it cool, he says. It's what I say that goes, says referee Jennings, and not you. And now it's Steve Kember then with the free kick for Crystal Palace. And McNabb again getting in well for Arsenal. Hine. Taylor, Queen, and Barnett. Loughlin to Tony Taylor. Kember neatly to Loughlin. Oh, that was so obvious, and now is Armstrong for Arsenal. Hoadley. Armstrong going in again, and a goal kick. Robertson trying his luck on the far side, finding Graham. Radford trying to give Hine the slip, and he may well have done so. Robertson, missed a chance. Armstrong! George Armstrong, number 1. 5 minutes before half-time. Calculations, the first goal of the season for George Armstrong, and there's the scoreline with 5 minutes to go to half-time. Arsenal ahead. And now Palace going in, and they've equalised. Bartram has equalised. Odd minutes without a goal, and then 2 within the space of a minute. 1-1. Per Bartram. Goal number 3 for him for Crystal Palace. Now Armstrong again. Still going on. And Robertson going in. And this time Bartram having equalised right back to clear. What a tremendous climax to the first half this is now. Port. And now Taylor. Woodruff. In this excitement almost tripping over. Taylor. To Hoadley. Now one to test Barnett. Instead Story. Now John Radford. Rashford moving in again. And down goes Jackson to get it with ease. Arsenal, with only 2 goals in the last 10 games, having scored one, must have felt they were on easy street. And yet, within a matter of seconds, they are pulled back to 1-1. And now Palace prepared to press them. Good running by Payne. And as well for Arsenal that he couldn't get it across because Queen was waiting. Tremendous piece of running by this man, David Payne. Corner to Crystal Palace. A chance for them to keep up the pressure. Kemba with it. McCormick right in the box there. Taylor running away. Hoadley to belt it through. Bartram can't reach it. Linesman is flagging for an infringement by Story on Bartram. And so a free kick to Crystal Palace. Kemba. And Woodruff going in and getting it just over the bar. Getting a yard ahead of that Arsenal defence, and that could so easily have been decisive. So Barnett with the goal kick. McCormick, Woodruff flicking it on for Bartram. McNabb to his goalkeeper. Throw to the Palace, Payne with it. And Hine challenging hard for Palace now. George Graham. And McCormick losing out there to Robertson, but a goal kick. McCormick, who was well back there, but in fact has curiously played ahead of that back line for so much of this first half for Crystal Palace. Big raw-boned Scot from Glasgow. Tony Taylor. To John Laughlin, into Hyde. Straight to Story. To Graham. Now Robertson looks as though he may have slipped. Hoadley gets it across. Well, Radford up! And Laughlin coolly behind for a corner. Radford not collecting it at all well with his head. Good piece of work on the left by Robertson, slipping the fullback. Radford, I suppose, ought to have made a little more of it, but a corner with Armstrong. Jackson's ball. And there goes the whistle for half-time. First half that really had a magnificent climax to it, with those 2 goals in a minute. First of all, this fellow, George Armstrong, number 11, putting Arsenal ahead, and Per Bartram, the Crystal Palace number 11, equalising a matter of seconds later. Still to come on the big match programme, highlights from 2 other league games, but the half-time score here at Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace 1, Arsenal 1. More soccer action for you in just a couple of minutes. Full start there. Mr. Jennings, in fact, slipping to the linesman, can he see with the sun in his eyes? But now Crystal Palace get us away at the start of the second half with a score 1-1 and the ball with Barnett, the Arsenal goalkeeper. Palace, who've only won 2 at home in the First Division this season against Sunderland and against Stoke. Obviously badly needing a win to lift their morale a little bit, in the same way that Arsenal are, surprisingly finding themselves at 14th in the First Division to Palace's 18th. Here's McNabb putting it across, Radford in! And there it is by Radford! Right bang at the start of the second half, Arsenal go ahead again through John Radford. A beautifully measured cross though by McNabb. And so within the first minute then of the second half, Arsenal ahead through Radford 2-1. So much for talking about Crystal Palace needing a win to lift them a little bit. Now they really have a tremendous amount of work to do against one of the best defensive sides in the First Division, Arsenal. I wonder if they can bounce back as quickly as they did in the first half. Here's Woodruff. Taylor. David Court finding Samuels. In fact, Bob McNabb, who crossed the ball there for that goal, was saying before the game they played so well in Portugal, he fancied them to score 1 or 2 this afternoon. There's 2 anyhow for them. Now Loughlin losing it out to Robertson, and McCormick covering for Crystal Palace. Queen. Still Queen going on, and 4 Arsenal players around him. Finding Woodruff. Still Woodruff. Samuels. Samuels finding Armstrong. Radford trying a little flick off onto Armstrong's left foot, and a ricochet off McCormick. Good build up there by Arsenal. And Jackson scrambling across his goal in one direction, and McCormick in the centre of the picture here, pointing. That deflection sending him scrambling the other way. Armstrong with the corner for Arsenal. And Radford again getting in, flick in, a goal! Off Radford! His second goal of the game, and Arsenal's third. And that's twice that Crystal Palace have been caught by Radford with high balls that have come from the left, and that one from a static position, a corner. So Arsenal 3-1 up with 11 minutes of the second half gone. And Simpson getting it away. McCormick. Armstrong, leaving it for Graham. Rather desperate measures there by Hind. Radford going in again. And again, and now George Graham. A little 1-2, a chance for Graham. Oh, a magnificent goal by Graham! What a superb goal by Graham! That really is a tremendous goal. Well, it's the first time that Arsenal has scored 3 goals in a league game this season, let alone 4. And now they really are in a most dominant mood with something like 13 minutes of the second half gone. They're going to this very strong lead now with 3 goals in the first 12 minutes of the second half. Laughlin into Kemba, and Simpson now coming forward. Arsenal hungry for the ball. George Graham, and Armstrong gone sprinting in. Beautiful play by Arsenal. Oh, and a magnificent goal by Radford. Oh, a tremendous goal. What a magnificent ball there by Graham to get Armstrong away, and that brave diving header by Radford. His 3rd goal, a hat-trick for Radford, and Arsenal 5-1 ahead. John Radford, who came into this game having scored only 2 goals all season, has now added 3 to that score. A really demoralising afternoon now for Crystal Palace. Now Kemba. And in goes Bartram, but good covering again. McNabb. Arsenal have been saying all season that the results they've been getting in no way is indicative of the form they've been showing, that they've wanted a good win to get them going. And it looks as though they're on their way to a very good win indeed, but here's Payne curling another one in. And now number 8, Taylor ricochet. Well, that's the Crystal Palace box, and that tells its own story. Arsenal at last playing with all the confidence in the world now. And I think their defence must be enjoying it more than anybody, because for so long they've been under pressure this season with nothing to play for, knowing that one mistake can lose a game. But now they've got plenty to play with Arsenal this 5-1, this staggering 5-1 ahead. Payne, and now Bartram, and beaten by Simpson, but unfairly, says the linesman, who was right there. So a chance for Kemba to flick one into the centre. Bartram there, number 11 at the far side. McCormick's got in as well. And those 2 players in the Arsenal wall weren't back 10 yards. And so Kemba will get another try with his free kick. Woodruff going in! Just past! Bad luck there for Woodruff. Stealing the march on that Arsenal defence. And the ball must have been beyond the byline when Terry Neal kicked it well over, because it's a goal kick to Arsenal. It may, of course, leave the midfield just that much more barren, which is where so much of it begins. Radford to Samuels, and now to Robertson. Caught, and Robertson getting in. Robertson, and now Radford. Can this be number 4? Just over. Well, Radford really looked to be on the way to getting number 4 there, and number 6 for Arsenal. Just over. Some very persistent work by Jimmy Robertson. Samuels back to cover and prepared to give away the corner from the attentions of Payne. Well back in defence there, John Samuels. McCormick and Hind have gone well forward for this Kemba corner. And McCormick getting in as well. And Arsenal having a fair bit of trouble getting it away. But of course, with so many Palace men coming forward now, there's always a chance for them to make a counter-attack pay if they make it come out of defence very quickly like this. Radford, is this number 4 for him? It's not! And this is exactly the sort of thing that's open to Arsenal now, with Palace plunging men forward. If they can break quickly, that they may well find that the marking at the back of Crystal Palace is just that little bit sketchy. Woodruff. Simpson having been pulled forward. There might be a chance here for Crystal Palace. Oh, good save! Good save by Barnett. And a good shot indeed by this man, Bobby Woodruff. Timed that flick over to perfection, Jeff Barnett. Crowded penalty area. Just about every man, bar Laughlin and Jackson, now in that penalty area. 20 men in the penalty area now. Kemba a chance to drive it back in again. And the lone man who stayed back, Laughlin, chasing this ball into touch. Well, I would think that Don Howe in the middle can take a glowing report back to Bertie Mee about this one. And now Hoadley, who's staying well up there, trying a little 1-2, cannoning off Terry Neal, back to his goalkeeper Barnett. The final whistle for Arsenal's best performance of the season, this staggering 5-1 victory. A victory that sets problems indeed for Crystal Palace now. 3 of those Arsenal goals from John Radford, number 9. And 1 from the number 10, George Graham, a real scorcher. And he did really some magnificent work in midfield as well. So the full-time score, and a surprising one indeed, at Selhurst Park, is Crystal Palace 1, Arsenal 5.
So a fair old week for Arsenal, really. Manager Bertie Mee cheered up the shareholders on Monday. They had this good, solid performance in Portugal on the Wednesday, to be followed by that fine victory yesterday at Crystal Palace. And a man who had a lot to do with that victory is our studio guest today, George Armstrong. With him, Jimmy Hill.
Well, George, you played a large part yesterday in 4 out of Arsenal's 5 goals. Why do you think this suddenly happened? You came good in one day.
Well, Jim, I think it's been, it's been going to come for a long time now. And well, just Saturday it happened.
Was there any superstitious reason or something that you felt in your water that you were going to do something this week?
Not really. I just don't know what happened myself, really. Everything just come off. And we've always been capable of playing good football, and yesterday it happened.
Well, in fact, I think whether it's that or what it is, the shock of Arsenal getting 5 goals has ruined our slow motion machine. That's had heart failure, so we'll have to look at them at normal speed. But before we do that, I want to go back to when the score was 0-0. And Palace fans appealed very strongly for a penalty. What do you think of that incident when Jerry Queen was held on the edge of the area?
Well, actually, when the incident first happened, Jerry Queen was well outside the area. So really, if the referee's going to blow up, it's got to be a free kick well outside the area.
Yeah. Here we can see it coming now, and there he is running through, beating Simpson. There's Simpson holding him, pulling him back, and he falls down. You can see quite clearly, I think, that it was outside the area when the foul happened.
Actually, I think it was necessary for Peter to, stop Queen this way, because he would have been in for a good shot at a goal, really.
But you notice at the end there was a corner kick given. No foul was given at all.
Well, I thought it was a foul, to be honest.
Yeah. You thought that was one of Arsenal's lucky breaks?
Yes, probably.
Yeah. I must say yesterday, I don't normally take it part of my business to criticise a referee, but that incident apart, I thought Mr Jennings had a very poor match yesterday. Even had he given that foul, I still think the fans would have been a lot happier if he wagged his finger at Peter Simpson and said, look, I don't like that kind of thing. But get away to happier things. Your first goal of the season, was it?
Yes, Jimmy, yeah. Well, I've only played about 4 games this year in the league, I've had a lot of injuries this year.
Yeah. So it looks as if brighter things are around the around the corner. Tell us how it came about.
Well, actually, George Graham got the ball on the left flank, and he pushed a through ball to John Radford, who saw Roger Hines a dummy. Then he hammered a hard and low across the goal. Jimmy left it, and it was just left for me to tap it in the net.
Yeah. It was a sort of tapping goal that you love to have to get you back to confidence.
Well, I like them goals, but sometimes I'm frightened of them in case you miss them, which you may look a right fool, you know.
Yeah. You have to concentrate very hard because
Yes.
there's no such thing as an open goal.
Well, I certainly like to hit them one well out, you know, it looks a better goal.
Now just watch Raddy's dummy here. Radford, you see the ball played from our camera behind the goal, shows it beautifully. There he goes. Watch the way he falls, Roger Hine. Beautiful. And there he fights very hard for the ball. Comes the hard cross. And there you are, steaming in on the far post to do it. And it was noticeable that Jimmy Robertson got in there
Yes.
and drew Jackson away. He had to dive out in case he shot.
Well, Jimmy, I don't really know whether Jimmy had a shot there, you know, but he was stretching for it, which is probably difficult for him, but the ball just come through and it was easy for me after that.
There were two wingers, two old-fashioned wingers, shall we say, number 7 and 11, both in the 6-yard box. Is that part of a plan?
Not really. Dawn's often trying to get us in the box, you know, but yesterday I just found myself there and the ball was on its way to me.
Yeah. Then you had a nasty shock, of course, because Crystal Palace came back straight away with a goal,
Yes.
which caused a few words, I think, from Don Howe at half-time.
Well,
What did he say?
It was a bit annoyed at half-time, you know, especially the score so near half-time and yet to give the equaliser away so early afterwards.
Yeah,
Because I think if we'd come in with a 1-goal advantage at half-time, we'd been well pleased, you know.
But I reckon on the first half showing, Crystal Palace deserved the 1-1. There was no sign of the landslide that was going to come on.
Actually, I thought it was a fair result at half-time.
It's a lovely header there from Bobby Woodruff. Look at the way he wins it, and there's Per Batcham celebrating his recent wedding with a jolly good goal to bring it 1-1.
Yes.
So coming out in the second half, and this man John Radford, who had shown earlier in the game how nervous he was in relation to goal scoring, suddenly took it into his head to start the avalanche. Tell us about that goal, the first one.
Well, the first goal, I was on the left and George Graham received the ball. He sent me off to make space for Bob McNabb.
Yeah, he
Well,
actually dictated to you to run.
Yeah, George told me to run off, and he put it at Bob with a great cross, across the goal. And Big John, when he gets his ball, he doesn't miss many.
It was your run inside, actually, that made the space for Bob McNabb to come up.
Yes, but there's not a lot.
Only a small part, but that running off the ball is very vital, because otherwise
Yeah,
the
at
space
times,
is
yeah,
not
miss
there.
space.
Just watch as it builds up now. There's George Graham saying, go on, off you go, and you run inside. There are number 11, scoot inside and leave the space to Bob McNabb. He crosses the ball, and there comes John Radford, beautifully positioned to head it on the near post into that.
That was a great goal.
And that, I think, might make a difference to John's confidence, that one goal in the weeks to come.
Yes, well, John, you know, like last year, was scoring a lot of goals. This year, I think he's been working very hard without a lot of success and goals, you know. But I think they're coming now.
Talking of hard work, the next goal was from a corner. You crossed it, and John headed. You've been rehearsing this in practice, have you?
Well, we've practiced this for a long time, where John comes off a yard or two from the near post, and I just planted it in the area, really. And it's up to John after that. If he can't get his shot in, well, he flicks them on.
Yeah.
But yesterday, he got a good header in, and the keeper could only hit his arm and went in the net.
And I don't think people sometimes realise how often you have to practice these things before you get one little bit of success.
Oh, they'd be very surprised at how,
Yeah.
often we practice these corners.
Well, here is it working now. There you are, taking the corner. In comes John, and it glances there. You can see it glances in off John Jackson's hand.
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't think he had much chance, because if he's coming so far, you know, he could never have got the ball anywhere, especially on the near post, because there's players in front of him as well. And when Big John, you know, like I said, it was when he's on his game to head them, he gets them first.
Some people were critical of his performance yesterday, but I would have said that, you know, on his day, the goalkeeper, he didn't have much chance to do anything.
No,
about it.
actually, to be fair to us, I thought all the goals were executed quite well, really. There was no luck attached to them, I don't think.
No. In fact, there was a brilliant one, the one by George
Yes.
Graham.
Oh, it was a great goal, George
What
Graham's.
about that?
Well, from what I remember, it was a cross on the edge of the box where John Radford headers it to George. He plays a 1-2 off John Samuels, and after that, bang, it's in the net.
That
you know.
was a delicate bit of skill to set that up, I thought,
Oh.
that lovely little 1-2 touch. I mean, it's
Oh,
just a first-time flick. You hardly see John Samuels touch the ball, but if he hadn't put it just right, then the volley would never have
Well,
been
this
able
is
to
it.
have been taken.
An inch or two off, and that's it, you know.
Here it comes up now. Raddy actually fights hard for that and wins it. Then he jumps again. There he is. Look, he's won the ball again. Now there's the flick. Look at that delicate touch. Control on the thigh and whack.
Tremendous goal.
Marvellous. Do you reckon that Arsenal are going to enter that for our Golden Goals competition, women?
Well, I certainly think it's worth it, you know.
And finally, the last goal in which you played a much more positive part, not only running off the ball, you did actually lay this on, and again it was a very good move. But this was rather different. As against George Graham saying to you run
off, yeah.
You dictated with your run.
Well, I was sort of the line, sort of deepish, just inside their half, and the ball went to George, and I dictated them by running at the area behind the two defenders, and George had a great ball, curly ball actually, into space.
Off the outside of it, a
yeah,
curly
off
ball.
the outside of his foot, yeah, and I just hammered it hard and low, and Big John, he headed it in. That was it.
Well, this was the case with the man running off the ball, dictating the
Yes.
play. You ran in such a strong run down the wing and asked for the pass, and George delivered it beautifully to you.
Yes, he definitely did.
Just as it builds up here, you see, pick the ball up. Now there he's indecisive, and you make the move there and force him to put a beautiful ball, and there's Raddy with a header 2 inches off the ground to complete a hat-trick of headers, and you can understand the smile all over his face.
Well, Big John, like I said, when he's getting his head to work well, there's no stopping him, you know.
Do you think this means a good future for the Arsenal? I know Bertie Mee wasn't there yesterday, and the suspicion was that he was away looking for a forward.
Quite possible, you know.
Do you think you might save him the trouble if you can keep up that kind of form?
Well, I think if we can play like this every week, there's no need for him to buy, but at the same time, I still feel as though sometimes we need a good striker as well, you know, alongside a Big John, because it'll probably take a lot of weight off his shoulders as well, you know.
Well, George, big striker or not, thank you very much for playing a part in providing the big match with 5 goals, which is a bonus for us. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Jimmy.
Well, an afternoon of misery for Crystal Palace. But this is a club with great heart, and they're making friends wherever they go. I noticed in yesterday's programme down there at Selhurst Park that the Leeds United manager, Don Revie, talking about the Leeds visit there a couple of weeks ago, said, you could not have done more if royalty had been there. And I think this is really good for the game, and I'm sure you're setting a new standard by doing all this in the First Division. I thoroughly agree with Don Revie there. I hope that Crystal Palace stay up in order that they can pass on a few of their lessons to a lot of established clubs who perhaps don't, as Palace do, treat people really the way they should be treated when they come to watch them play. I hope Palace stay up. But now it's time to look at one or two of your letters, and the first one concerns something that we were picking up again last week, the rights and the wrongs of the taking of corner kicks. You may remember that we showed Alan Hinton of Derby County in their match against Manchester United, where he placed it. I said that that was an illegal placing of the ball for the corner kick, and in a moment we shall see another one at the other end, an illegal placing of the corner kick, and it certainly seems to be outside that little quadrant there. Well, this week we've had a letter, in fact, from a man who should know, a former cup final referee, Ken Aston, who is deputy chairman of the FIFA Referees Committee. He says Hinton's placing of the ball for the 2 corners shown was quite legal, since part of the ball was overhanging part of the line of the corner quadrant in each case, and it was technically within the corner quadrant. 2 points must be remembered in such cases. 1, the lines are part of the areas they enclose, and 2, the whole of the ball must be over the whole of the line before it can be considered as having passed beyond a particular area. We've had a little caption made up, and the one on the right there, that now becomes a legal placing of the ball because part of the ball is overhanging that line. The one on the left, that obviously is a foul placing. But there's been another example of that, in fact, this week when Queen's Park Rangers went up to Main Road to play Manchester City. I've had a lot of letters from people about a corner placing there. Stephen St Clair, aged 12, of Pinner in Middlesex, Mr P Daly of Fulham, Mr A Linley of Bexley in Kent, Geoffrey Huggins of Greenford in Middlesex, Robert Hall, aged 13, of Hoddesdon in Hertfordshire, and 12-year-old Peter Regan of Kensington, all of them saying that when Francis Lee placed a corner for Manchester City, which led to the first City goal against Queen's Park Rangers, that was a foul placing of the ball. Let's have a look and decide for ourselves. Remember, no part of the ball must be overhanging the line. Now, that, in that case, is a perfectly fair placing, and Colin Bell then goes in to score the first goal. That means Queen's Park Rangers are on their way to defeat. Thanks very much indeed to Ken Aston for pointing out that little thing to us. Our second letter today comes from Kevin and Alan Smith of Burnham in Buckinghamshire. Is there any chance at all, they say, of watching Jeff Barnett's penalty save against Sporting Lisbon in Portugal in the Fairs Cup last Wednesday night? Yes, there most certainly is. But first of all, we got from Jeff Barnett himself an explanation of how he did it.
Well, of course, they awarded this penalty. The first thing I thought was, well, which way is he going to put it? So I looked over towards the trainer's bench, and I knew Don and Mr May had been over for the previous game, and I wondered if they had had a penalty and whether this chap had taken it. Anyway, they just sort of shrugged and looked at me, so I thought, I remember now, Don Howe said to me, he puts them he swerves him round the wall at free kick. So I thought, well, if he swerves him round the wall and he's a left footer, I thought it's a good chance he's going to me right. So of course, I thought, well, here I go, I'm going to go to me right. But as he came up to the ball straight ahead, and then he stopped, and then he continued again, and he sort of swerved it with the outside of his foot to my right, and of course I went across and I pushed it away, and all of a sudden there was this other chap on the pitch, and he hammered it and it hit me in the chest and went out. And we found out afterwards this was one of their players who had been injured, and he came back on the pitch all of a sudden after the penalty to try and put it in, but the referee awarded a free kick, and that was it. We're away from there.
So here's the film we've got from Portugal. There's the trip by Peter Simpson that caused the penalty, the referee going in. Now you've got to watch for Jeff Barnett diving to his right, and after this, remember, the injured player coming on to try and get in the rebound. There's the injured player coming in, and Jeff Barnett going down very bravely indeed. The referee going to remonstrate with that injured player, and Arsenal are saved, and a good save indeed by Jeff Barnett. Must have made him feel very much at home now at Highbury. Our second match on the programme today is that tremendous clash up in the Midlands, Derby County against Liverpool. The pictures come from ATV. Our commentator is Hugh Johns, and Derby County, as ever, in white.
Chris Lawler for St John. That was a good tackle by Daniel. Hinton now looking for men to pass to. There's O'Hare. Hinton going well for the return ball. And a good save by Lawrence. He's out. It's O'Hare. Now a chance for Carlin. Durbin, Carlin. O'Hare. What an incredible tangle there. Willie Carlin, number 8, getting 2 bites at the cherry, and still no ball got past Tommy Lawrence. And the whole thing set up by a great run. There's McGovern, and there it is! McGovern! John McGovern! Well, there he is, John McGovern, number 7, and that for John McGovern is his first goal of the season. So he must be a very happy fellow indeed. Jeff Strong forward for Liverpool. And Derby fans really roaring it up now. Dave Mackay forward, and Yates just getting that one out. Here goes Hector. Hector on his own now. A great scoring chance. There it is. Kevin Hector. What a fantastic goal! Kevin Hector, his 10th goal of the season.
And Derby kept up that pressure
Thompson.
in the second half.
Graham inside for Hunt. Back for Thompson. Thompson using his speed to get out of trouble. Yates across field for Lawler. Lawler, a lot of room in front of him if he wants to move. Thompson, beautiful running across field to get that. It's Callahan. 3 Derby men there. And they tidy it up between them. McGovern, the final pass, back to Green. Durbin intelligently finding a lot of space for himself to work in. McGovern forward. Durbin a bit lucky, and that's a great ball for Hinton. Hinton. And a chance for number 10, Hector! Kevin Hector! Oh, what a beautiful goal! There's the scoreline again then. 3-0 it is, Derby. Kevin Hector, his 2nd goal of the game. Good dummy. O'Hare, and we've got a linesman's flag up for offside, I think, against O'Hare again. Not much more than 20 yards inside the Liverpool half of the field. Well, it certainly wasn't there. Certainly wasn't there. Long way back from there, Chris Lawler. And even now it's 5 yards in advance of where the linesman was showing the kick to be taken. Oh, Tom Smith scratching his head with an England game coming up on Wednesday. Well, one wonders if Tom Smith is able to concentrate completely on this one. Here's Hector. Good bit of running by Durban. And there it is! A back heel by O'Hare. No, it's been ruled out. It's been ruled out. The linesman's flag was up. It must have been against Durban offside. But what a cheeky bit of football. So it's still 3-0. Chris Lawler to get Liverpool out of trouble here. Here's Tom Smith. Robbed by Carlin. Hinton. And the linesman's signal was up for offside again. I think he was a little bit premature with it. Certainly the referee didn't accept it. Here's Graham for Liverpool to Hughes. The build-up very slow. Graham has strong open inside. Finding St John instead, or ain't to, until McFarlane got there. McFarlane takes a lot of bustling off the ball. Here's Durban, the through ball. And there goes Hector. This must be a goal. Yes, indeed, it's O'Hare. John O'Hare. And he's going to be mobbed by these Derby players. And although Liverpool have got a great crowd of fans from the Kop here today, it's the Derby fans who are shouting, easy, easy, easy. 4-0 it is now.
And that's how it finished. A truly wonderful 4-0 victory for Derby County. Incidentally, flicking through the fixture books, I noticed that Derby come down to Highbury next Saturday to play the Arsenal, and in the light of yesterday, that really promises to be quite an explosion now. That's all from the big match today. Hope you've enjoyed it. Jimmy Hill was saying earlier in the programme that George Graham goal at Crystal Palace yesterday could well qualify as one of our golden goals this season. Let's just look at that one again, and this time judge for yourself.
Radford going in again. And again. And now George Graham. A little 1-2, a chance for Graham. Oh, a magnificent goal by Graham!